Hi everyone, we're doing planning for 2018, which is going to include a trip to Alaska, and I'm going to blog all about that today. But as I started getting into it, I started thinking, we did so much this past year. It would be really great to do a 2017 year in review. We bought the RV on Christmas Eve in 2016, and so as you're aware, 2017 has been mostly about RVing. But of course, there was a ton of travel as well. So my work began very slow in 2017. And so actually that was good for me. It helped with our plans to downsize. Since we just got the RV, we were big into that. We had 3 garage sales in the spring. I had set as a goal to get really serious about working on my weight, and I joined Nutrimost Weight Loss Systems in Denver, which was a lot of work, but over the course of the year, I lost 50 pounds. Starting that again right now, by the way, but so I'm not done with that story yet. We had parked the RV in Phoenix because we weren't sure about the snow in Fairplay, and as we got back and started downsizing, we started thinking about how difficult it was going to be to move into the RV without having it close by. So in March, when the weather kind of broke, we decided we better run down and pick it up down at Josh's house in Phoenix. So we drove down to Phoenix and picked up the RV, and actually, unfortunately, Mike came down with pneumonia and ended up being 4 days in the hospital. So kind of ended the ski season for us, kind of ended his instructing at Breckenridge. Anyway, in April, work started picking up. My travel for work started picking up, and I ended up going to Toronto for like the 5th time. And there was a 6th trip that was actually planned in there, and I was gonna fly over to Nova Scotia, but the 6th trip ended up getting canceled. So it's just a quick trip to Toronto, not all that exciting. And then also I went to Montreal, which was new, so that was another good trip. Both of those relatively short, which was good because that was our moving month. We moved into the RV on May 1st. Moved out of our house in Fairplay and into the RV. We were going to spend our first month in Albuquerque to just sort of work the kinks out and be there where my kids and my parents were. Of course, best laid plans. You know, we had sort of a philosophy that we were going to stay 1 month in every place that we stayed because it would save us money in the long run. So we did stay a month in Albuquerque. I should say Mike stayed a month in Albuquerque. The RV stayed a month in Albuquerque. But that's when I started traveling again. So I ended up going to 2 trips to San Antonio during May and a trip to Chicago in May. We did get a chance to fit in a housewarming party with my friends and family from New Mexico, and of course visited my kids and my parents for a few days. So, and break in the RV. So I guess from that point of view, everything was good. We ended up with storage in Albuquerque, was our plan. We also parked the RV there for a week while we went to Cabo San Lucas with some friends from Boise, and that was fantastic. That was a fantastic trip. First time Mike and I had ever done a trip like that, as that extensive. And boy, had fun every single day in Cabo. That was a great trip. Anyway, that was pretty much how May went. While I was gone to Chicago, the RV headed out to Utah for a month. I joined Mike for some of the time there. That's where Mike's family's from, so he didn't mind spending a little extra time there and getting a little extra fishing in and such. I also had to go to Las Vegas for a couple weeks in June. And then I also ended up going to Vienna and Iceland on my way home from Vienna, which was on the bucket list. Very exciting to do that. Great trip, that one was. So then, anyway, I joined Mike back in Utah and headed on up to do a week in Wyoming, where we have friends, and then a month in Montana. But we didn't end up staying in one place, so it didn't do that cost savings thing that we were talking about. We hadn't figured that out yet because RVing was new, and like I say, our biggest surprise for RVing has been how you can't really be spontaneous. You have to make reservations ahead of time. So we ended up staying in 3 or 4 places in Montana. We did get to Crater Lake. There was fires everywhere. It wasn't as great as we had hoped it would be, and by the time I left, Mike was heading for the hills, heading for Oregon, which turned out to be not much better at the time. While we were in Montana, I did end up flying over to Portland and joining Donna Brett, one of my better friends that lives in Tucson. She joined me in Portland to see the eclipse, which was another spectacular fun trip. Just a weekend trip though, and came back from that, and I had to head off that same week to go to Brazil. First time I'd been to Brazil. Got to see my foreign exchange student from high school in Brazil, which was great. Been in touch all these years. I'd only seen her a couple times, and they'd always been in the States because this was my first trip to Brazil. So visited her hometown and got ferried around a little bit, and then she immediately left for the States and was here for 3 months. Her husband was learning English, and ended up seeing them back in Las Vegas at the end of their trip. So pretty cool to see her twice in 1 year. Went to London and Copenhagen with my mom this year. That was pretty fun. IBM, she traveled on the IBM Travel in Lieu of program, where they paid for her trip as well. We went to London. We went to Copenhagen for 3 days. We got out to see Stonehenge, which nor I had seen, which is kind of a surprise, but I always sort of wanted to. The British people all say it's just a pile of rocks, but you know what? It's pretty cool. Don't regret that whatsoever. I went on a second trip to Brazil, this time to a different town. And during that trip, I took a side trip down to Iguazu Falls, which are the largest falls in the world. Very cool. Did a video on that. If you haven't seen it, that's worth watching. Meanwhile, the RV went from Montana and to spend a month in Oregon, we thoroughly enjoyed Oregon. Thought we have to go back and do Oregon again. We got to Crater Lake, which is something I've always wanted to see. We went up the coast, loved being on the coast, thought we'd probably go back and do that in future years. Met up with Mike's sister up there and camped for the weekend, and her husband's 2 sisters. Great meeting them. So we loved our month in Oregon. After Oregon, we went for a month to Idaho. And again, I wasn't able to be there for most of the time. We did get to enjoy the fall colors. Mike got to do some fishing, and we got to visit our friends, the Timmermans, same ones who went to Cabo with us, live there. So it was nice to visit, but during that was when I went to Copenhagen with my mom, so I was gone for half the month anyway. We went from there down to Las Vegas, starting to get cool, needing to head south in the RV. Wanted to go spend a month in Vegas and take in a trading expo for day trading. We also, again, saw Valeria there, the foreign exchange student from Brazil. Also went to Front Sight to take some classes, Front Sight Firearms Training Academy, where we have a lifetime membership and can take all the classes we want. We went to a handgun class last year. Mike took a couple other classes, and so now we've gotten in a couple more classes, kind of follow-up classes. I took a rifle class, 4-day rifle class, and a 2-day handgun skill builder class there. Plan to go back there at least once a year. I divided the blog from just one blog into 2 blogs, the one dealing with the RV and the one dealing with my travels. That was a huge effort and a huge accomplishment, goal on my list. So was glad to get that done in 2016. In December, we decided to park the RV in Albuquerque and come up to Durango and stay here for 4 months. We were going to do that so that we could ski. Maybe Mike would be a ski instructor. There's no snow, so we are not skiing, and it's turning out to be kind of an expensive experiment. However, we're enjoying Durango a lot. It's a beautiful town. Missing the RV though. We enjoyed living in the RV in 2017, and we'll probably continue to do that for many years to come. 2017 was great. 2018 is going to be great too. I won't even say better, but it'll be great. We're doing our planning now, setting goals. Setting goals is important. Video blogging more is on my goal list, so I'm already hitting the ground running. And read the blog, like this video, subscribe to our content. Love to have you aboard. Talk to you soon.